Welcome back, painting friends. Today we're going to paint a fun little llama. Colors you're going to need, well, there's a lot. Pink, yellow, green. I've got a light blue and like a teal, purple, brown, black, and white. I always have my favorite 4 brushes in the studio, my 1-inch flat brush, my 10, 6, and 1 round brush. Don't forget to have a rag and a cup of water for keeping those brushes clean. And remember, if you like what you're seeing, make sure that you like and subscribe to my YouTube channel so you are kept up to date on all of the tutorials. I'm going to start off today a little bit different than normal. I'm going to start off with my number 6 round brush, and I'm going to take some white and some of that light blue on my brush. And all I'm going to do is kind of lay out where my llama is going to go so that I don't have to cover the whole thing with white. So I'm going to start right down here at the bottom, and I'm just going to make his little neck kind of coming up like a little curved line right here. Almost looks like a trunk of a tree, doesn't it? And then from there, I'm going to take this and I'm going to make a nice big ovalish shape. That's going to be his little snout. And then from there, I'm just going to make another little bump right here. And then I'm going to add in the ears, which are going to be kind of little leaf shapes, okay? So now that I have that on there, what I'm going to do is I'm going to take my number 6 round brush and I'm going to use white paint and light blue paint. And I'm just going to kind of brush up and down around this. Now, it's okay if I go inside of it, but I don't have to waste my time covering that whole area in. So you can get really close or even go over it a little bit, but we're just going to brush up and down, nice long brush strokes, filling this background in. Now that our whole little llama guy's done, we're going to let our background dry. When we come back, we're going to add our first layer of color. Now you're probably thinking, Mary, this looks a lot more like a giraffe than a llama, but let's get into it. Okay, I've got my brush here. I've got my number 10 round brush. And I'm going to take white paint, and I'm just going to kind of drop some white paint on here. We want to give it a nice base color. But not only are we going to drop white paint on, I'm going to drop a little bit of brown and quite a bit of yellow. Okay, now I'm going to take those colors and just kind of brush them together. I'm going to thicken this neck up a little bit. So now that with this piece done, let's move on. This center part right here, I'm going to take quite a bit of white paint and I'm going to make another oval that kind of connects these two. And then right down here, I'm going to take a little bit of white paint and I'm just going to kind of messy brush it in here. I want it to look like there's some fur texture going on. And then up on the ears, I'm going to take some white and I'm just going to outline the edge of the ears with that white. Now, coming back down here to this area, I'm going to go ahead and switch back over to my number 6 round brush. And this might seem kind of crazy, but I'm going to take a little bit of purple paint and I'm going to make some little U shapes on here. And then I'm going to take a little bit of yellow paint and I'm going to add some yellow in with that purple. All right, let's move right back up here. I'm going to go in with a little bit of purple paint and I'm going to make a small, cute little nose right up here at the top. And it's just going to be almost like a really flat heart. So just taking that number 6 round brush and kind of coming down at an angle. Wipe that brush off. And then I'm going to add some water to my black paint. Anytime I use black paint and want skinny little lines, I like to add water to it. So a little bit of water on my black paint. I'm going to make a line come straight down. And then it's going to have a little hook right here, and a little hook right there. I'll take a small amount of white and pink on my brush. Add a little tongue, and then another little line underneath that to kind of finish that tongue out. I can use the back of my brush to add a couple little dots. I like where it's coming along to so far. I'm going to take a little bit of brown paint and I'm going to make 2 small little curves on the top of the nose. And then I'm going to take a little bit of brown paint right down here at the bottom. I'm going to go in with that same, actually I'm going to switch to my number 10 round brush for the next part. So I'm going to work on the hair of this llama next. And I'm going to start with white paint. So I've got white on my number 10 round brush. And I want to imagine that there's like a little part right here. So I'm going to just make an angled line. And from there, I'm going to have some of these lines kind of scooping out this way. And on the other side, they're going to just kind of flip up and then flip down. Now, I don't really want to add too many colors to this, but I am going to use white, brown, and purple, maybe a little bit of pink. So I'm going to go in here first with my white and just kind of lay out where I want some of these hair strands to flick and flop. I'm going to take some of that pink and white mixture and I'm just going to brush some little lines of pink into the ears right here. I'm going to grab that number 10 round brush with some white on it. And I'm just going to add a little bit of like white fluff around the face. So I'm almost barely touching my canvas right now. I'm going to go in and add just some very teeny tiny little details that match the body on top of the face. I'm going to grab some clean white paint on my number 6 round brush and add some fun little highlights. All right, and we are going to let this dry. When we come back, we're going to add in some of those final details. All right, let's add some more details to this. So up here on the ears, I'm going to take a little bit of purple paint, and I'm just going to make a couple of little hair lines coming off, a little bit of an accent with that purple. So I'm just using my number 6 round brush, and I'm barely letting the tips of the bristles touch the canvas. I want to keep it really kind of light and airy. On both sides, I'm just getting a little bit of that purple. And then just like I did on the body, I'm going to add a little bit of yellow to it just to kind of brighten it up. I'm going to go with some white paint, and I'm going to add just a little bit of highlight to all of these little scoops. I'm going to take the actually I'm going to take the bristles. I'm going to add a small little highlighter on the top of the nose. And a little bit on the tongue right here. I'm going to go ahead and fix this black line up right here. And take a little bit of black and just really lightly, I just add a couple of detail lines in the hair to really make it pop. And then let's go ahead and add in our fun little necklace. So right through here, I'm going to take some of that pink paint, and I'm just going to make a little line that kind of comes right across the neck. It's going to be a little bit bigger than the neck. I'll take a little bit of white and highlight the top of it. And I'm going to have it come right down here on this side also. From there, I'm going to use my finger and I'm going to add some polka dots. And these polka dots can be really any color you want, okay? So I'm going to add some of the blue that I use on the background, some of the teal, some of the yellow, and I'll finish off with the pink. I'm going to connect each of those with a little purple line to the necklace. Then in between each of those, I'm going to put little tassels. So I'm going to make a small little line, and then I'm going to have a bunch of little, just kind of pom-poms sticking out from it. And all I'm doing is taking my brush and drawing one line, and then connecting a bunch of smaller lines to it. Use the back of my brush with some purple paint to put some dots on the necklace. And as I'm going with the dots, I'm going to grab my pencil. I like to make bigger dots with my pencil. I'm going to put some white dots kind of around the background just to add something fun. And yeah, I might even add some other colors on there too. And I think right up here, I'm going to add a flower. So I'm going to use some white and green paint just to kind of cover up the center space here. I'm going to make a little leaf right here. I want that leaf to be a little bit darker on the bottom. For my flower, I'm going to start with white, and I'm going to start with the center. I'm going to make really long, skinny petals. I think I'm going to paint them yellow. And I add a little bit of pink to the edges of them. And how about we do a big teal center? I'm going to take my finger and add a big teal dot in the middle. Those colors kind of mix together. I'm now going to do what I call a ghost line. And a ghost line is a little black outline that kind of goes around my whole image, but it's a little messy. Sometimes it's there, sometimes it's not. So to do that, I like to water down some black paint and use my number 6 round brush. And what that's going to look like is me just kind of adding some lines around my llama, including some of these little details. But this line is not a solid line. It sometimes shows up and sometimes doesn't. And I really kind of want to give her earrings. I think I'm going to have to. Look, I'm going to go right here and I'm going to put a dot right here, a little drop down. And do the same thing over here, a little dot right there. A small drop down. And I think I'm going to give her some nice big pink dot earrings. Actually, you know what I might do? I might add some pink and I might add some teal. Just felt like she needed something on her ears. Last but not least are the highlights. So I'm going to take a little bit of white paint on my number 6 round brush. And I'm just going to add a couple of little highlights any place I think I need them. So there's not really a rule to this. If you want to put a little highlight on the ear, you can. If you want to put a little highlight On the flower, you can. It's really any place you just want to add that extra pop of bright. And there we have it. This might be the sassiest llama I've ever seen in my life, but I think she's adorable. Make sure that when you're finished, you find a color that's going to show up well on your canvas and sign your name. I always put my initials in the bottom right corner. Remember, I never get to see what you're painting at home unless you take a picture of it and post it to my Facebook page, Painting with a Purpose. Make sure that you like and subscribe to my YouTube channel, Painting with a Purpose, so you're kept up to date on all of my tutorials. And remember, as always, stay kind, stay creative, and stay safe. Have a great day, friends. Bye now.